See you in an hour or hour 15. I love you.
Love you.
Life that we live ain't just words that we say, it's the weight that we give. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, don't pretend. Tell your story right here, we don't break, we don't bend. Everything happens for a reason, they say. Even pain got a purpose, even night finds a day. You ain't fighting alone, yeah, we stand to the end. I got your six, yeah, I got you, my friend. 97, young Jimmy laced up his boots with a mission. Never knew that his path would be written in fire and friction. Ramadi rose with attention, thick every second to gamble. 04 IED blast, wounded a Marine with blasting shrapnel, dust in the lungs. Heartbeat racing, vision blurred from the shock. Life changed in the moment when the world just stopped. Lost parts of himself, but not the fight, that's a different condition. You can break down flesh, but you can't kill the mission. I got your sex, yeah, this life that we live ain't just words that we say, it's the weight that we give. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, don't pretend. Tell your story right here, we don't break, we don't bend. Yeah, Walter Reed trying to piece back a life from the wreckage. VA hospital halls with a broken, learn strength in the pressure. That's where Beth walked in, yeah, fate in disguise. Crayon eater's wife, but she saw through the eyes. Not the scars, not the past, not the war that he lived. Saw a man still standing with a life left to give. He said, you saved me, she said we saved each other. Built a life from the pain, raised three together, father and mother. Years turn to purpose, every story gets told. Now they open that door so nobody walks alone. War took pieces, love gave them back. Pain made the wound, purpose filled the crack. Silence will kill you, truth brings you home. You ain't gotta carry that weight alone. I got your six, this ain't a slogan, it's a last. From the war to the healing, we don't ever back down. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, let it out now. Tell your story, yeah, your voice matters, pal. Everything happens for a reason, we see. Even broken roads lead to who we can be. You ain't fighting alone, yeah, we stand to the end. I got your six, yeah, I got you, my friend.
Hey guys, welcome to the Crayon Box Confessions. My name is Beth, also known as the Crayon Eater's wife.
I'm Jimmy King, aka your one-legged wonder. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the Crown Box here. Anybody who has joined us early, if you could please highlight in the comments, it'd be greatly appreciated. Let people know that we're out here putting a show on for you, passing on some great information and trying to put a smile on your face. We've got a great show for you tonight. I can personally testify
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
Preach.
Tonight we have Anthony Rocco with Project Refit, Army veteran, veteran extraordinaire, and Project Refit's director or operations director for Project Refit. Anthony or Rocco, my bad. How you doing?
Wonderful. That was a lot nicer things than I would have said to myself. I would have
I know.
stopped way before veteran extraordinaire.
Yeah, he really did a good job on that one.
I didn't pay him for that, everybody.
I'm sitting here wondering. No. How are you doing tonight, Rocco?
Just remember
Wonderful. How about you guys?
this.
Great. Um, as everybody knows, I have, definitely said all wonderful things about Project Refit and everything that we do, and what an honor it is to be part of the facilitator for the female veterans retreats. And I think it was a great opportunity because Jimmy just got back and as a participant, and he couldn't speak nothing but amazing things, kept me up till 3 a.m. talking about it. So I am so happy that you were able to join us. If you can, just kind of give us a little bit of backgrounds, where you're from, a little bit of military history, and we're going to jump in and talk about this retreat and the amazing things that Project Refit's doing.
Sure. I'm Rocco, just Rocco. You can forget every other part of my name. That's all I go by. That was way before the military, but I was Army infantry and then in the guard for from 2010 to 2019. Ended as an E5 after 9 years abruptly. Might get into that later. Goodness gracious! I started volunteering for Project Refit. Maybe a little more than 7 years ago, and then just recently, maybe about 2 months ago, got hired on as the operations director.
The very first hire.
Say again.
So the very first hire too that we
Very
had.
first hire. Yep, I was graciously passed on to me by our very own Wade, who was on his way as well. But he passed that buck on to me, and now it is my pleasure to carry that torch.
Awesome. And also just talk about you actually was a participant or somebody who had gone on a retreat with Project Refit in the beginning, and that's what drew you, correct?
Yeah. So, without sugarcoating it, I was half a bottle of wild turkey honey in, and I was really messed up from a lot of things, both home and military, and longing for purpose and missing my guys. And that night, I had fully anticipated wrapping my car around a pole. I had my keys in hand. I was ugly crying to my wife. I don't remember too much about it, but I do remember that. And then Chris Carr, he's a guy that I'll remember for my entire life because I owe it to him. He served with me pretty much the entire time, and then after I got out, he stayed in, and he's still there. He's still there. He had a strong hand in helping create Project Refit, and in its early stages, he got a call from my wife. Said that I was talking a whole bunch of nonsense and talking about finishing myself off, and he made a 25-minute drive in 12 minutes, ripped my keys out of my hand, and threw me into his car, drove me around until daylight, till I was sober, and talked to me just like only we can talk to each other, and calmed me down, showed me a lot more in my life than I was willing to see at the time, and it was all history. He introduced me to James. He's the founder of Project Refit, and it was all downhill from there. The "We Show Up" that's on the side of the trucks, that was all credit to what Chris did for me that night. So, yeah, 7 years later, and I was volunteering the whole time. Did a whole bunch of cool stuff. Sorry, YouTube.
We're not at the 12-minute mark.
Yeah. I did a whole bunch of cool stuff with them, a lot of heartfelt missions, and I loved every second of it. And now I have the honor to, be able to provide for my family, with that. So it's been a heck of a ride.
Real quick,
It's where we get to work as a job and get paid for something that's our passion or mission that feeds. The way I describe it is feeds my soul. It's truly being able to give back. And you did definitely brought up another point. The only way you can talk to each other. I see that. I see the difference in Jimmy when he's around other veterans, and the way it's just a look, it's a demeanor, it's everything changes, and being able to witness that kind of thing. And it's the same thing with caregivers. Like, we don't have the same story, but we have the same story. And we can definitely talk and relate to each other in those ways. And I love to see that when it comes to Project Refit. And one of the things you had also talked about was breaking the isolation and the camaraderie. That's one of our main missions and goals.
real quick, before I comment on internet, want to give a quick shout out to Shannon Jameson, Theo Tor, Lance McElhaney, Mike Show, and Chris Nichols have all joined us. Thank you guys for jumping in and watching. greatly appreciate it. Like I said, if anybody could, or if you haven't already, please highlight the comments. As Beth was saying, the way one of the ways she said it before, as far as it goes, is um, with a lot of veterans, a lot, if not all veterans, you watch them when they're interacting with someone out in the street or whatever, and you can almost physically know whether they are or aren't talking to a veteran simply by, hi, buddy, simply by watching, watching them, because they'll have a physical reaction as soon as they find out that the person they're speaking with is also a veteran. Their body language will visibly, physically and visibly, change as far as that goes, to the point where it's like, oh, okay, I'm talking to someone who truly understands what I'm talking about or understands where I'm coming from. And that, seeing that physical change, I've noticed it with fellow veterans and stuff, where they'll be talking to someone at an event or something, and as soon as they realize, oh, hey, the person I'm talking to is also a veteran, you can see that familiarity change in the aspect of, okay, now I know who I'm talking to. And it to me, it's an awesome thing as far as I go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all a matter of like it's a mindset of kind of where we fit in. Just because we think differently, we joke differently. You know, a lot of it is the crude humor you guys love to portray in here, and it's we will never say don't have therapy, right? Therapy,
Yeah.
a lot of helpful tools, and a lot of tips and tricks, but there's just something about talking to somebody and not having to explain to them what an LMTV is or what a 240 is, or any of these things. And then there's the humor and the comfort levels, and you're right, the body language shifts, and there's about 1,000 guys out there now that can probably agree that for us it's better than therapy in many, many ways. So it's absolutely incredible to see the uncomfortability melt away when we do that very first. Jimmy, you can attest to this. That very first day where we just hang out, we meet, we do the introductions, we make fun of each other. You're over there with your one-legged t-shirts, and it's just downhill from there. So yeah, the comfortability factor is definitely a big thing.
One, I may have been sharing out and everything as far as it goes on the phone when you first said it, but I am a bit of a geek for the whole veteran aspect of it as far as it goes. I know you were in the Army. Where were you stationed again, and what was your most?
So I was 11 Bravo. I was infantry. I was guard, so I was in just Jersey based until deployment. So Mount Holly, Alpha Company, 1st and 114th. And that was my home for 8 of the 9 years. Took a trip out to the Middle East. Nothing, no combat or anything like that, but spent some time in Botswana, Africa. That was really cool. Just the typical guard stuff. Did both of the last big hurricanes back in those 2010, 2019, and I think it was Sandy and Katrina. So just here and there throughout the 9 years.
Good deal.
And one of the things, like you were saying, humor. We are definitely ones who obviously, believe in healing through laughter, but we also know that you got to deal with your hold on 13 minutes. You got to deal with your shit. You got to really. I got the first one in. You got to. We don't negate the fact that there has to be some real true work that has to be done. And that's what I love about Project Refit. With unfortunately the VA, the main problems I'm constantly hearing is they don't get appointments in time, or they get appointment, they get a therapist, they get somebody they're comfortable with, and 3 months later they've got a new therapist and have to open up all those wounds all over again and start all over again. And that's where I love Project Refit stands in that gap. Where I feel like and I have people who work at the VA. I don't think the VA is bad. I just don't think they're doing enough, and I don't think that they're handing out meds versus real therapy. And I love that that's what you guys offer. Now, mainly before, we got to Patriot Point, you guys did adventure retreats. Can you talk about some of the adventure retreats that you guys have done?
You mean before the retreats were really a thing, like the missions?
Yeah,
Um,
like the
yeah,
what was it? I know Colorado and not Missouri.
I call those adventure retreats.
The ones where you're it's more actual camping and or survival skills versus Patriot Point is absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
It's fucking beautiful, and you can't get away from that. But looking at the other ones where you're actually staying in tents and
I think you have done
it's
Wyoming.
more on the adventure side as far as it goes. Survival skills, actual camping versus
And more like actual physical, like outdoor activities.
right.
Yeah, I mean, we have a variety of the retreat locations. Rest in peace, Ted Turner, but we use one of his ranches up in Montana. We're in guest houses in those. Colorado, we're definitely camping out on the actual ranch. Super cool. We had camped out in the Poconos. It's not really a. It just depends on the location, I guess, and if they have housing or if it would be better off if we do the camping. But I think the camping kind of, is reminiscent of like the digging your own foxhole and, the whole morality embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And things like that. But I mean, we're always trying to. I think this was the first retreat where we didn't really have crazy stuff planned. I mean, we only really planned two things, the horse coming out and the breathing exercise, which was amazing.
Yes.
But, in Colorado, we outsource fly fishing. We go hiking because we're on the mountains, and why wouldn't we?
Right.
We have the horses come in. We had dog trainers come in. We have we go out to the town and we have dinner one night, and we do go shooting, and we had one guy show us his armory, which was fucking absolutely insane.
There's a better word armory between the vault door and everything hanging on the walls.
I didn't hear about this.
There is no better description.
Is this at the Patriot Point?
No, this is in Colorado. Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
I just saw photos of the actual armory, and the guy's got a vault door, and his stuff set out like it's a gun dealership almost, as far as it goes with the way it's displayed on the walls. Yep. And I mean, you think of the Continental on the John Wick movies, where you get to go in and all that stuff displayed all nice and pretty. It's very similar.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it all depends on which location we're at, and we're constantly looking for new locations. I know I'm trying to put feelers out to go to a location that James has a state that he's very fond of, and I'm trying to find a location, a ranch out there, and it just all depends.
And I love that we've been blessed with Patriot Point, and they're an amazing. And if you can you tell us a little bit? Like, I know we get the history of the house and stuff. Can you give a little bit of info about who Patriot Point is and what they do?
Yeah, I mean, from my relationship with them started when I stepped foot in Patriot Point. But from what I gathered, it's just a conglomerate of a bunch of people donating and buying that land for the sole purpose of having retreats or hunting. In the direction of for
veterans.
And I know during like in the late fall, early winter months, they do duck hunts, and during the summer months and the spring months, they have veterans. The veteran nonprofits come out and they just show them a good time. I
Mhm.
believe this is our second trip out there. We had the all ladies retreat, Sisters in Arms, and then we just came out there. Just got back on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to pause there
I was
for
gonna
1
say.
second. We have hit at least the 20-minute mark before it goes. So I'm going to take a minute, pay the bills, and then we'll catch up on a few comments, and then we'll get back into it. For those of you who are business owners and want to improve your business, you want to start your own organization, or sell your services to the government and get some of them government contracts, get some of that government money. Check out our friends over at RTS at YESRTS.com. These guys are great. They will break it down Barney style, keep it simple, stupid, and hold your hand through the entire process. If my crown eating ass can follow along when it comes to applying for a 501c and building a website, setting up a shop, revamping a
They do
website,
everything.
they do everything as far as it goes. Like I said, I can't prop these guys up enough when it comes to the amount of work that goes on, but both behind the scenes and on your screens. So check them out. Get on the books. Get an appointment with them. It's RTS at YESRTS.com. You won't regret your choice there.
No.
For those of you who are looking for your all-day energy, but not wanting the sugary crash, check out Omeza or Omeza.
Amazing.
Yeah, my English isn't Englishing today, so but check out Omeza. Shop.omeza.com. If you use the promo code CEW1775, you'll get a nice little discount there, and proceeds from
20% off.
20% off on the discount, and a portion of the proceeds from those sales will come back into the show and help support us and the stuff that we're doing. Keep putting on a show for you guys, keep putting smiles on your faces and making you laugh. So once again, that's your all-day energy without the sugary crash. Omeza, shop.omeza.com. All right, bills have been paid. Looking at the comments real quick, Project Refit gave us an
Your
American
boy
flag.
flag.
Gave us a waving.
What up, fam?
Lance McElhaney said that I think in reference to building up the camaraderie and everything else as far as that goes. That's why he joined the VFW down here where he's at.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. The VFW can be an amazing organization
Mhm.
and set up as long as they run it right. Unfortunately, one around us isn't the greatest, but I think we have somebody working on that. So, then he also gave a big yut. Chris Nichols said, "What a stud! Look at those throwbacks." I think he's referencing your photos there.
Pounds ago.
Oh, look, Chuck's
Appreciate
joining
you, Chris.
on his vacation.
Lance McElhaney said,
Sorry.
"I think his hearing is about like mine, so you'll have to forgive him a little bit." When he said, "Did I hear mention of horse? Count me in." No, Lance.
Horses.
He said horses, not whores. This isn't Vegas where what happens on retreat stays on retreat in that aspect. In other aspect,
Fair enough, because I don't even think I said horses. I think I said when the lady brought the horse, the horse out.
We got,
I'm not gonna cross my T's and dot my I's for now on.
Chuck
That
Yarbrough.
upsets Lance, though. He hears what he wants to hear.
Chuck Yarbrough. So, what's up, Steady Studs? Or Studley Studs?
Hi, Chuck.
My vision's going, so I thought he said study. Hi, Chuck. Love you, brother. Oh, look, your wife joined us. There, Rocco.
Love
Hi,
my
guys.
She said, let's see if I can read
She's
it
like,
the way
"My
she
stud."
meant it. My stud.
My stud.
We'll throw a little
Which
southern
was
twang in
also
there
a
for you.
beautiful wedding picture. That was the
Yes,
first
that was
picture that
an amazing
showed.
picture.
So,
All right, comments are caught up on. Bills have been paid. Let's jump back into it.
I'd really like to talk about Jimmy, what was your experience, and then also talk about Rocco. What is y'all's goal, and let's just kind of have an overview of what happened this weekend,
Okay.
because not only you kept me up till 3 a.m., but Chuck, when I called his wife, he answered the phone and did nothing but rave about you for 30 minutes. go.
Hi, Charlie. Little Charlie said hi.
Hi, little Charlie.
He's our little buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I will say as far or start out a little bit with the aspect of the retreat in itself is absolutely fucking amazing. You make a lot of great connections. You really get a chance to connect with the guys who are there on retreat with you, both in one-on-one through whether it's while you're sitting around lunch table or going out and doing skeet shooting or fishing or crabbing or whatever.
I'm going crabbing in July.
Whatever
Oh,
activity opportunity that that's taking place. We got to hunt some foxes and some snakes and but there was a lot of good conversations that were held there. There was some amazing conversations held around the actual campfires, both in the full out shares and both in just when there was times where, like we said last night, Rocky, that at one point you and I were talking, but you looked around and you seen that there were 3 or 4 different conversations going on all at once, and each and every one of them was like real conversation, not just, hey, let's talk about the Lakers or some bullshit. It was like real conversations, and they were great as far as it goes. And one aspect that I love about it, both in the retreat campfires and what we try and recreate with our monthly campfires that we do as a fire team, is the fact that one, it's actually around a campfire. It's not just a phrase that's being used. It's actually around a physical campfire. And the comment that I had made to you is there's something iconic about sitting around an actual fire. That it's hard for people to, when you get into a real conversation, it's hard for people to really bullshit you when they're sitting around a campfire. And there's something, I don't want to say mystical or magical, but that's the best way to.
Darkness behind you, it's like you can still share, but not feel exposed, if that makes sense. Because and I think you even were talking about it, Rocco, that when you're getting around that campfire, just the magic that happens, and it's like you can let down those facades that we put up day to day, just to get through the day on sometimes.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely symbolic. The fire itself is, just a powerful, mysterious entranceway into, unlocking emotions. And I wish I had answers for you to explain why. But the fireside chat, is in itself designed to promote everything. Primal is exactly it. I don't know whether it's Wade or James, but it is. Yeah, it's a primal. It brings you back to the roots of humanity, and it's makes you just spill everything out. But the ideal behind the fireside chat in its entirety is the community aspect. It's getting a whole bunch of guys to, or ladies, to really dive into someone's past and their emotions and their current headspace way more than they could with a lot of their friends back home or even some family members, and allowing that safe space to be able to, and I hate that fucking word, safe space, but allowing a space where it's acceptable to just say whatever you need to say.
Yeah. If you can kind of go through like what your itinerary is for the week, like how it goes, because you go for 5 days. I know we've talked, behind the scenes about extending it, but at this moment, it's a 5-day retreat. So, if you can just kind of explain to everybody how this process would go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by all means, I will preface all of this by saying that it is always and forever will be a work in progress. It's never going to be perfected. We learn stuff from every retreat. We learned a lot from this one. I have a notepad, that I jam-packed words in that me and James had a 5-hour meeting for just yesterday, and so it's always a work in progress. But you
And
know,
I love that you guys recognize these type of things and are always willing to shift and change. That I know that we have an itinerary, but it's not set in stone because we move with how the group is going, and you follow the direction of different people. So yeah, definitely kind of tell us what you envision and what you usually do, because y'all did a couple different things that we haven't done that I would love to implement. So I know of three things right off the bat. So I'd love for you to talk kind of about that, and we'll highlight those things.
sure. I mean, we have our initial, you know, prep for everything where there's a lot more behind the scenes. We're meeting the guys on a Zoom meeting well before we even go out, try to get our feel for them a little bit. The pre-retreat notes, we are taking notes on those as well. Um, you know, avoiding the boring semantics of buying flights and all these intricacies about calling vendors and all that. But day one, there's mission involved and meaning behind our movements. Um, from the shopping. I mean, me and James just talked about this because a guy said that and I won't mention names. That's definitely part of our policy, but um, a guy mentioned that last time he was on a retreat, he came back to another one. He said we did the shopping together, and like there's definitely some benefits to that, and then there's some benefits to separate. With
Yeah.
James having his verbal claws into everybody else while I'm out doing picking up things that people are asking for, and it is very important to ask everybody what they want, what's going to make Patriot Point feel more comfortable for them being at home, whether it's the Ghost energy drink that somebody asked for, or if it's just a pack of cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I'll pick them up for you. So the initial putting the food into the house, getting the stuff that we're going to need, fishing poles, all that stuff, and then the real cool stuff happens. Everybody starts trickling in. Greet them with a smile on the face, little joke, get them to feel comfortable. After everybody's in there, we have our introductions. So we will literally sit around the table, go one by one, introduce who you are, around, and what you're here for on a very, very basic level. And then myself and James will, introduce ourselves and I can work. I can work on that. So
Real quick before you do that
Yeah.
one, just want to give a quick shout out to Brandon Zettler. He said, "Hey, you guys, thank you for joining us." Brandon, Lex Bonilla joined us.
Alex.
What's up, Lex? And for those of you who like the more serious conversations, check out Lex's Mental Warrior 22 on Thursdays at 8 p.m. He's got a podcast of his own, and
It's absolutely amazing. We traumatize you, and then you go to future Dr. Lex for healing. he used to co-host another show with us, our first show, Smoking and Joking, and now he's on his own show and just doing amazing things.
Yep. All right. So yeah, if you can't give a brief summary, just because I love the metaphor as far as it goes. If James is great at it, and so I know you've heard it probably 100 times, a few more times than me. So I figured you'd probably be better at talking to it than I am. But the metaphor between the buffalo and the cow.
Yeah, so James is a magician with his words, and as a past participant until now, I've definitely gotten better, but I'll never be as masterful with my words as he is. So the buffalo bison metaphor that you asked about, that originally came from he originally thought of it from the Montana ranch. It's a bison ranch, and if you do a little bit of research on them, when the crazy storms come, all of the animals hightail it, and the bison turns around and they face it, and they storm directly into the storm. They marched directly into the storm. And I think on a very broad yet oddly specific mentality, that's what we want. We want you guys to come into the retreats, open mind, face the storm, walk directly into that motherfucker, and work it out. Stay there until there's sunshine. In a hurricane, there's always that center of the eye where it's the calmest, and that's where we want you to be. We wanna get you in from chaos and then calm you down, get you thinking clearly, and teach you to think for yourself.
That's
and walk
awesome.
out the other side as a stronger person.
Absolutely.
Yes, when you talk about James, like, I have explained to him, like, for instance, to Chuck, I was like, "You're gonna love him, his passion," and, for the longest time, I thought James was a veteran, because of the way he talks, the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, very much, and the knowledge he has about the military, insane. But this is a man who was going to Columbia Law School and saw this need and left law school to start this organization. And from the moment I met him, his passion is none other. Like I have not met anyone else I can say that speaks and talks to you and can get to you. I've jokingly said I don't want to get in a room with him where he picks me apart.
Rocco, I will. I'll say this. You're getting to the point of nipping on his heels when it comes to the passion is contagious
Yes.
aspect, because James's passion, when you talk to him, it's almost contagious, infectious, whatever you want to call it, as far as that goes. It in both
I'm
the
sorry,
drive and the way
Columbia
he's
Master's
talking.
program.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
wrong. I've been telling everybody the wrong thing. Sorry.
Um,
Still Columbia.
but I will say, and I know you're probably not one to toot your own horn, so I'm going to toot it for you. Your passion and drive and dedication is nipping on his heels. Just to let you know, it is very contagious and infectious in and of itself as well. So, thank you for
that.
it's appreciated from someone who attended a retreat. You're right there. You're right there next to him, not only physically but for a reason.
No, yeah, and I absolutely appreciate that. I'm glad he's here to hear that, because that's just going to motivate him even more. As the leader, you know what I mean. He wants to still be able to teach everyone, and I think that's a big piece of my respect for him, is that as I was a participant before, and I'm still learning every single time, every retreat, I'm learning a lot from you guys, the participants, but James teach me every step of the way. There's a lot of things that we're working through, whether it's my own personal self or through my position, that he's spot on with every time, and we have this wild connection through business, passion, and friendship. There he is, that gorgeous motherfucker right there. But we actually, and I'll bring this up because it just happened on this retreat. We actually had a moment where we were sitting around the fireside chat, and somebody started talking to me as a side conversation. We generally don't allow those, but what the guy was talking to me about was important, and we had an entire conversation just by looking at each other, and I was so sure that we knew what we were talking about that I had to bring it up in the conversation. And I was like, even just there, just as an example to somebody else talking about, even just there, me and James sitting there talking, and he's like, "Hey man, we don't do that." Inside of his mind, "Hey man, we don't do that. We gotta pay this guy the respect that he's due." And I'm like, "Yeah, I understand that, but this guy's talking about something real, and I wanted to listen to him." And he's like, "Yeah, but still, don't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right." And when I called that out, he ended up laughing, and he's like, "Dude, that's exactly
What I was
the fucking
saying.
conversation that we were talking about." And it's like, that's how me and James move. And I'm so happy it's that way. I've the utmost respect for him from his story, which he will never give himself the credit for, and I end up having to tell everybody about it. But man, what a guy! And for a civilian to know more about the military than I do, just because he dove into it and he studied it, and the guys that he talked to and the passion that he carries around it, wanting to be in it himself, but medically wasn't able to. Man, I'll fucking tell you, hitting a demographic that is not his this hard is wild. It just spews leadership. So, James, if you're still here, I love you, bud. Got all my respect.
Okay, so we introduce ourselves, and then now you've started a new program.
We have, yeah.
And,
So,
and love it. I can't wait.
so
So
James has started a new curriculum,
Mhm.
and it is, as of right now, it is an 8-page. It's 8 pages that is designed to help you think for yourself.
Mhm.
It is designed to allow you to identify a lot of the negative things that you tell yourself, even if it's a joke, and say, you know what, fuck that. I'm not going to listen to that, and to push forward. There's a lot more that goes into it, but man, I'll tell you, I was a little bit worried when we were implementing it, but the feedback from these guys, and they said it exactly how what I thought too, is like, oh, death by PowerPoint, and it's really fucking not. It's not that at all. And he gets up there and he has that same passionate language, and he really is like a philosophical genius, picking apart all of these other guys and creating his own thing, and also he's not reinventing the wheel on some of it. He's bringing up things that are hundreds of years old, thousands of years old, and it's just wild to see what he's created with his own mind. But to be able to create small, 4 or 5 person classes, really bring out the participation when your mind is already in a vulnerable and honest state, and to really be able to pick apart your brain even further. And it's perfect. And I'm sure he won't agree, and he'll keep working on it. But
Well, what I
man,
love about it is like Jimmy, he had one intention of coming, and that was kind of just to check everything out. But going through the class, he realized, oh, wait, I have some shit to unpack too, and
Yeah,
I think sometimes we go in with an intention of being like, oh, I don't really have anything to work on. I just need a break, a reset, which is what we do promote as well, is that break and reset. But I can definitely see how this will pull out those things that are holding you back from reaching your goals and having the best life you possibly can, and so I'm really excited about it. And you were saying you do 4 or 5 small people, and then we go to the fireside chat, and those people are the ones who mainly are given the floor, I guess is the best way to say it.
yeah. I went with the idea in mind that I wanted to come to learn from you guys how to better facilitate our monthly fireside chats that we do as a fire team here in North Carolina. And I learned a lot of great
Yes.
info there and techniques to use as far as it goes. But like Beth said, while I was up there, I realized, oh, wait, I do have some stuff that if I am being 100% honest with myself, that I need to unpack and sort through and straighten out within myself as far as that goes. And to me, that's what it's all about is, go there for the camaraderie, go there for the rest and reset and respite and any other word you want to put to it.
tactical pause.
Yeah,
Tactical
there you
pause.
go.
There you go.
We used that one a lot, and it was not in a bad way, but it was one of those things that was needed and needed to be recognized as well as both a tool and a necessity. But taking that tactical pause, do it in such a way that, okay, I'm taking this tactical pause from the stresses of life, but how can I better handle those stresses? Well, the only way to better handle those stresses is if I look inwards and really dig deep and sort out my own shit so that that's not interfering with what I need to do on a daily basis in my life, with my family, with my my spouse, my kids, my job, whatever the case may be, all of the above. And I had that epiphany, so to speak, with myself when we got up there, and so thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned as a facilitator, through doing these retreats that I have to be vulnerable too. You know, and so when, we're doing these fireside chats, you definitely gave us a lot of great pointers that we hadn't picked we hadn't done before, and we're definitely gonna implement. But, I knew that I would have to share my story, and it's definitely been something that's healing to me and also helped me in other ways to say, "Okay, this is what my goal is, and how do I get to this goal? I've got to cut A, B, and C out of my life and stop being a yes person and start learning to say no." Things like that. I learned on the very first retreat, and I was a facilitator, and I still walked away knowing and learning something new about myself. And that's what I really love about, you know, um, the way we are working this. It's not just asking, a participant to be vulnerable. We're willing to be vulnerable ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so first off, and I will say this with my whole chest, I cry every retreat, either from going over my same story for the umpteenth time, to let these guys know that it's, okay to open up, and that it's a comfortable spot to do so.
Mhm.
But like I preach this all the time, is I learn something every single time I go to retreat. As a retreat leader, I'm still working my own stuff out. And the coolest part is every single time there's a story, there's always one other participant that goes, I'm dealing with the same stuff. And acknowledging either those words that hey, I'm going through the same stuff, or as Jimmy, me and you were talking about, that simple head nod or the head shake, or one of the simple things that they do with their body language. You have to notice those things, because every story tiptoes off of one another, and that's what brings these guys together. Because while trauma is relative, it's also extremely specific, and it just takes that 1 inch of saying, oh, my dad also, and
Right.
then that person's just open up and they're talking too. So it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah, the trauma is not just from the military service. There's a lot of people who have trauma before they even, join the military. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got a lot of it. But it's packing all and all unpacking all of that. And, it's not just we don't just stop there. We are working to, stay in contact, afterwards. And what I also love about Project Refit, it's not a one and done thing. You can keep coming back. And like Chuck wants to volunteer and do cooking for the guys. That's also amazing. You can do stuff like that. So it's definitely, we're not just opening you up and leaving you off. If you've got to come back for 3 or 4 more retreats, well, then that's what we're going to do, and whatever we got to do in between. Again, I know we can't mention names, and I don't know the person's name, but you worked on somebody traveling there, you know, uh, and you put so it's like you were saying, from Zoom calls, from the travel, like, you meet people where they are, not where you want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get you there. We'll get you there, if even if we have to drive you there ourselves. So plane, this retreat specifically, it was plane tickets, train tickets, and driving these guys down there. So I'll come pick you up. There's no excuses. It's
Right.
free. It's no bullshit. Free retreat. You don't have to give me anything except for your time and honesty. That's it. That's all we want. That's all we require.
Love that. Okay, so
We're going to catch up on a few comments
yep.
here, and then we have gone a little bit over, so but we are going to get into the entertainment segment as far as that goes, just to give people a couple laughs before we call it a night. So going back to the comments, we'll scoop. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. We'll scoop back. Duke Duquette
Hey, dude.
joined us Hi, Duke. Claire said, and this is where I probably shouldn't have waited so long to read the comments, but in one of the aspects of what you're talking about, and we did talk about it within the retreat itself, the mindset is victim or victor, and that was very well put.
Yes.
Beth already said that James had mentioned that he was in the master's program, not the law.
I know. Look, it
James
wouldn't
said
be
it
a
was all
show if
good.
I didn't
Linda
get
Hudson
something
said,
wrong or stick my foot in my mouth. It would not be a show.
right. And I'm actually surprised that so far I've been able to actually read fairly decently. Linda Hudson said, "Hey, sorry late getting on." Tanner Ortiz joined us. Said, "Happy to see some faces on here."
Tanner Montana. My God.
James said, "Love you too, bro." Going down here. Where we at? Our producers helping say hi to everybody as far as it goes.
What's going on?
That's why I'm skipping through some of the comments. Is I already read out the people, and he was just reiterating hi to them. Theo said instead of a tactical pause, he renamed it tactical no diddy. Linda said, "Yes, Beth, cutting some things out of your life."
Yeah. Her and I had to talk about that.
James said, "We lead from the front. We don't ask anyone to do something we won't do."
Absolutely.
In terms of leading with your story if need be, and not being clammed up if asked what our story is.
Right.
And I'm going to butcher the hell out of this, but Nicholas Shalobio, if I'm not butchering it too bad,
just say Nick.
Said Rocco.
It's one of your friends, Rocco.
Oh yeah, it's my boy. That is my boy. He's a good man.
Nicholas, I apologize if I butchered your last name, but
I know him and I butcher his last name.
Okay, all right. So
all right.
I'm sure.
So this is bad news advice. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we've had someone write in a question. It's almost like a Dear Abby. So it's an advice column. They're asking for advice on a given situation. We're going to read the question out. Rocco will give his answer. Beth and I will give his answer, which will give you in the audience time to type out your answers as well. The goal is to give the absolute worst advice possible to the person who's written the question. So, hi, Rocco. Rami here from Ithaca, Michigan. Thank you for your service. I served in the Coast Guard in the late 90s. Anyways, my grand aunt was probably supposed to be lost her medical insurance, and now she is looking to go back to work to help pay for some medical bills. What do you recommend?
Oh, no medical insurance, no problem. You know what'll get you to buy that sucker really fast is like window washing on corporate buildings. That's real good stuff.
That's real good stuff. Ooh, let's see. I think being 70, you should go be a barracks bunny and get some real TRICARE.
Right. Pendopotamus, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let's see that one. So
Nicholas is going to start his OnlyFans.
Started on OnlyFans.
Jimmy's trying to start a stump.
That sucker on deck.
Yeah, so I would have to say start up a touring company. You've got tour buses, you've got tour walks or whatever as far as it goes. But combined it with either a strip club or OnlyFans as far as it goes. So you're in your 70s. So, while you're walking around, just start stripping off and throwing clothes out in the middle of the street.
Oh,
and make it a stripping tour.
Stripping tour. They actually have those.
Yeah.
They have like dancers that tour different not in
Okay.
public. At
I know.
different strip
Okay, yeah.
clubs.
I was like, they've actually got that on public. That
I was
would,
like, how did you not know that?
yeah. Like Beth said, everybody's saying to go to OnlyFans, and I've thought about just creating my own news site called Only Stumps.
Yeah. Theo, you got to work on that. That's our next website, Only Stumps.
I like cage fighting for this one, actually.
Right away.
Cage fighting? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick money. And I hear they don't care if you have insurance or not.
And then not at all.
Our next business venture brought to you by Artias, Only Stumps. All right, let's see here.
Join the military. They have raised the age. So I don't think it's 70. It's what
I don't know if they raised it that much.
Yeah, they didn't raise it that much. Could be a young looking 70-year-old. I mean, how hard is it to get a
That's what she
also a
said.
steep step for subpar insurance.
right?
Jennifer here from Sacramento, California. I just quit coffee and I'm thinking about replacing my drink of choice with a new substance. What do you recommend?
Okay, I'm getting paid for this. Omeza. It's all natural.
Shout out to Omeza. But if you're looking for a different one, if you wanted to go another route, then I don't know, melatonin. It's all natural. And I mean, on a worst case scenario, eventually you're going to wake up well rested.
Yeah, I have I want to say cold plunges.
Ooh, yeah.
Even though that's good advice,
Speaking of
it's
cold
also
plunge,
really not a fucking good thing.
speaking of cold plunge, can you really quickly, because this is the first time y'all have done the cold plunge, was when Jimmy was there.
Yeah.
But Jimmy was kind of explaining what that is, and if you can kind of really quick, explain what your goal is with the cold plunge.
Lance, great answer, Lance. Yeah, so the cold plunge is two purposes, right? So it's a big tub, cold water, ice put into it, sits for a little while, you jump into it. Two main focuses there is it makes your brain more vulnerable and forces you to focus on your breathing, which was is a primary focus in what we're doing here. Take your breathing, force your tactical pause, let go, calm the chaos in your brain, and just try to think clearly and accurate and precise. That's what that's all about.
And I think it takes them back to, because in combat, it's that flight, or it's in the same thing with the cold plunge. It's that fight or flight mode that you get put in. And one thing you guys have been trained to do is learn to zero in and focus. So it almost takes you right back to training. And I really love that. I don't know if I can convince the ladies to do it. Jimmy, has your ball dropped yet?
That's what
He only had one, but he only had one to start with. But I'm just curious.
That's the other nickname instead of One Leg Wonder, Uniballer Extraordinaire.
I'm glad it's still there because I coughed mine up on Sunday.
See?
I do have to laugh real quick just to give the answers out there. Lance McElhaney said, "Drink your own urine. It's sterile, and you'll like the taste." So apparently, he thinks that celebrating your hydration would be twice as nice.
And watch your wife. She might start taking feet pics. And I'm not saying hers. I'm talking about your feet.
Hey, look. Revenue is revenue.
Rainwater is all natural. Yes, it
Revenue
is.
Revenue. As long as it don't go above the ankles, it's in good taste. I'm about it.
All right. Looking at the time, we are just about there. We've got just a minute or two. So, Rocco, give one time, give us a rundown. Where can people learn more about Project Refit? Where can they sign up for retreats? Or where can they donate if they want to help? Send some money y'all's way so that you can keep these retreats going and get more veterans the help that they need.
Absolutely. Everything that you just mentioned there is on projectrefit.us. You can donate, you can become a sponsor, you can hit join us, and fill out a couple of questionnaires and get yourself out on a retreat. Don't fucking think about it. Do it. If you think you might need it, if it sounds nice, if you got some shit you want to work out, don't think about it, because it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a free retreat. Come out, work on yourself, be better for yourself and those around you. Let's fucking go.
And it's for veterans and first responders, and we have male and female retreats. I absolutely love that we've started that for the females, because they really are underserved, and I love that James saw that there was a need for it, and he's made it happen. Also, real quick, guys, before we go, we will be in Wilmington, North Carolina, with our Project Refit tent, supporting Ashes to Ink. It's a flash tattoo and food truck fundraiser. This family lost everything to a fire. So if you guys can come out, anyone in the area, come out, check us out. We'll talk to you about Project Refit, as well as help support this amazing family. Because I just want to say, Becky, right after the fire happened, a lot of people reached out, wanted to ask her what she needed, and she sent them to other people who needed it because they had it. They were okay at that moment. She sent it to another fire person, and then they tragically lost a friend. She sent them their way. So if we can go out and support this amazing lady who's obviously selfless, please do. Thanks, guys.
And in case anybody's seen the other picture that was on the flyer there, as far as it goes, I got to shamelessly self promote a little bit as far as it goes. We at Crown Raiders Wife 1775 are fixing up a motorcycle to give away to a lucky veteran. You can find the application on Crown Raiders 1775 Facebook group. If not, you can always send Beth or I a message personally, and we will send that link to you. You can nominate somebody else as well. So if you know of a veteran or first responder that could really use some wind therapy, you can go to the application, fill it out, and in one of the typing sections where it says, "What does wind therapy mean to you?" in that section, you can type out, I'm submitting this application, or nominating so and so for this application. I think that they could really use the wind therapy for X amount of reasons or whatever, as far as that goes. If you want to come out and talk to us more about it, we will be in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a dual purpose setup as far as it goes.
Yes.
Primarily, yes, it will be so that we can talk about Project Refit. But if you have questions as far as the motorcycle giveaway, please feel free to ask.
It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sorry, I was looking for the time.
So 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And you can get
Saturday.
tattooed while you're there too.
Yeah, you can get some flash art.
Oh, I'm in there like swimming.
Love ink therapy.
Everybody loves some ink therapy.
Absolutely.
But for tonight, that is our show. Join us again next Tuesday night for another great show. We'll have another special guest for you, I believe.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm horrible at names unless I have it written down in front of me. And
Well, I just like to surprise you for sometimes.
My notebook's in the other room. So for tonight, that is our show. Thank you, Rocco, for joining us. Obviously, we love you guys at Project Refit. Thank you in the audience for joining us. We love y'all. That is us for tonight. Good night.
Good night.